So please keep your camera turned on, and then I'm going to share my screen so we can begin. Okay, so welcome everybody, and so this is going to be the last teaching. I'm going to try my best to sort of focus on the main parts of the code that you need to have. And I'm thinking of probably doing one more, like a video recording like what I did last time, because I think I definitely need to do that so that I can probably extend to show you just a few last part functional aspects of this app that you need to be able to know so you can complete your app properly. Now, you notice that I'm on Google Classroom again. I'm back here again one more time. And of course, I'm back here because of lesson 4 assignment. So again, this is the last lesson assignment. So please keep in mind that if you are one of these people that have not turned in your assignment, of course, that means that you're not going to get any certificate of completion or any of the benefits of this course when it ends, which is going to be in the next session. That's the last session. So again, I repeat, when you do a quiz, please make sure that you come in here and you hand in. So some of you don't know this, but I hope at this point in time, I think you should be well aware that you have to come in here and you have to hand in. Even if you're not handing in any, thing per se, because you've already completed it on Google Forms, you still need to sort of hand in here. That just means you've submitted. So we've got 13 people who have turned in. Of course, this meaning that when we come back with our academic team to look at those who have turned in comparison to those who have completed, we're going to consider those who have turned in and completed. So I'm talking of completed the Google Forms. So just keep that in mind. There's 57 of us, like I told Ms. Kila, Ms. Kumo, Mr. Kumo Mrs. Kumo and Mr. Kila last time, to sort of remove those who are not active here, because there's no point. So if anyone's not active, then we're going to take you out, because it doesn't make sense if you're here and you're not submitting anything. Then today is data science. This is lesson 5. Lesson 6, as you all know, it's 2 hours. The objective of lesson 6 is sort of like a wrap-up lesson. One reason is because Miss Yadira will talk a little bit about the inclination of soft skills and technical skills that you're learning here, and probably may have a little bit of from wherever you are coming in terms of academic-wise. And then how that's like relevant in a professional context, how you can use that in a professional context, and then of course how you can also use that even if you decide to start your own business or start up your own tech company or whatever you want to do. So that's what she's going to talk from 5 to 6 p.m. You really need to be punctual, yeah, because remember, this is, again, even today you're kind of coming in late, which I don't know what happened there, but you need to be punctual on time. And make sure you're here at 5, because she will start at that time. And she's always been a very important special guest that's been coming for us. And she comes, for free. So this is really important that you also show your commitment. Now, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., what we're planning to do, like I said, is sort of like wrap up. Because you're going to need to have a portfolio, we're going to have to show you what a portfolio looks like. We're going to have to talk a little bit about it. And then again, talk about the content creation aspect, which I don't think we'll have much time in. But like I said, if we don't have much time in, we can do a little video explanation whereby we can be able to explain what exactly you need to do. And I think with that, you'll be able to follow fine. Okay, so before we start, one more thing. I'm going to go over to this announcement that has come to our attention. So there is something called a dialogue, a new South Atlantic dialogue. I spoke to Mrs. Kuma and Mr. Kila about it. It's something that's happening in Morocco. It's for anyone in the Africa, America, Asia sort of diaspora. And it's more details of this I will kind of make in a slides, and maybe make a little part of the video that I will upload later on, just to speak a little bit more about it, because I don't want to take too much time here. But it's basically something that has to do with your MBOA FLIX app that you're designing and developing. And it's a fully funded opportunity. It's free to sign up and apply for it. It's basically coming to be selected for a dialogue conference in Morocco, in Rabat. And that depends on your sort of like your portfolio as a professional. What are you representing? So I think, and we believe that because you're doing something with MBOA FLIX, which basically is an integration of two things. It's a collaboration between Nasli Tech School and Tech Fusions, one in Morocco, one in Cameroon. And also because you're kind of creating something that has to do with culture and heritage related to Cameroon, which creates more awareness for people who are Cameroonian in a different diaspora, or even people from different countries, to learn more about the roots and things that they need to learn about. So that's kind of like what you have on your MBOA FLIX app. So that kind of connects with the idea of what this policy center for the New Atlantic South dialogue is about in Morocco. And so if you're able to pitch a good idea, and you're able to understand what the dialogue is about and make a connection with what you're creating on MBOA FLIX, I believe you stand a chance to be selected, to be fully funded, which is a great opportunity because you come and get to meet like people from around the world in different diaspora and you know, have that contact and talk about, present yourself as a professional. So more about that will be talked, because you got to do a couple of things to submit here. You have to have a resume, and it should not be a regular resume. You have to do a 1-minute YouTube video and sort of talk about who you are, your field of work, what you do, and why you feel you should be a person selected for this ADEL. It's called ADEL, ADEL, which is Alumni Network Community for Policy Center of the New South Atlantic South. So again, more details, I probably will explain how you can pitch your idea and stuff like that on the video that I will upload later on. So this is really important. This is part of the benefits of doing this program, this MBOA FLIX. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, now I'm going to go to the program, but I also wanted to speak about the Replit itself. So I think you're aware that on Replit, when you know, there's a section of Replit, when you develop something, you can publish your work, which is free for you to publish, I think for 1 month, if I'm not mistaken, but you can continue to publish it as you decide. But you can also pitch it and publish it to sell it, as I said, on Revenue Cat. So for you to do that, you need to talk a little bit with the AI. Once you're done with MBOA FLIX, I probably will show that a little in the video, probably because this will be a really long one, is just how you can communicate with the AI to say that I want to sell my app like when you're done, and maybe when you're finished, even like adding some extra features to it, because you can vibe code it at the end with your AI. You have free AI credits every day, so why don't you make use of it, right? So you can like vibe code it, make it better, add some features, and then at the end you say, I want to sell my app, you know, to Revenue Cat. And what it will do is that it will automatically give you the links where you can go and sign up for free on Revenue Cat. And then you can now put your app there on the store. And I believe, I'm not mistaken exactly of how much the price is, but there is a subscription fee that they will make you to set for your app, so that if anybody wants to try your app and use your app, then that subscription fee will be something where they will take some part of it and they will give you some parts. So if you want to learn more about that, I think you should go over and search on Replit Revenue Cat. So, and then final thing, share your story. So there is this page, which I think I can go show you real quick. It's called Share Your Story on Replit. And basically what this page is, I'll give a link to it, is that when you're done with your MBOA FLIX, what you will do is you will have this link, and because you all have a Replit account, so you will be able to, well, get yourself in here, and you can submit your story. So when you click submit a story, it's basically you just talk about MBOA FLIX, what you created. The reason I say this is because you might be lucky enough to have Replit publish your story, especially when many of you are doing it. So it might pick up that story and say that's a very interesting app, especially in the way you describe it. And it will publish it for you. And Replit is the #1, you know, online compiler in the whole world, and it's established in the United States. So it's really good for you in terms of that, and even for you to take a screenshot and put it on your own professional LinkedIn profile. So there's so many things that you need to do at the end so that you can reap the benefits of what you're doing now. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. I'll talk more about this maybe on video. So now let's get into our class. So quick review, I did 2 parts. Again, like I said, it's probably what I'm going to do today as well. I think I need to do 2 parts of the video because I don't think I'll be able to cover everything now, but I will cover the data science part, hopefully. So if you remember in our last video, last class, sorry, we did first part and we had to set up the login. We were trying to put in this like an animation, right? Trying to put an animation, and the animation needed to work, and that was where we had a login, where the user can log in, et cetera, et cetera. So one thing you notice if you watched and did part 2 was that I said we had to put this, you notice that there was one screen before I came here, right? That screen is because, I don't know if sorry about that. Okay, I thought something happened because can you guys still hear me okay though? Everyone still okay? Can you still hear me? Can everyone hear me? Wait a
We
moment.
can hear you.
Oh,
We can
okay.
get you.
I can hear you,
Oh,
ma'am.
right. Okay. Thank you. Well, it's because I heard like a log out or something like that. So I was saying that we did this last time and we have a pause screen before the screen. The reason is because the animation needs to load. Because why? Because it's heavy. There's a lot of, frames. So that's the reason why we have that pause before we come in here. So according to my table, this is the users that I have right now. So if I try to sign up that without anything, it's not going to work because I need to put something there. If I sign up with just random stuff in here like this, and then I try to log in, it's also not going to let me because that's not part of what I have in terms of users, right? Then if I try to put in a user that actually exists, okay, I'll put my name and put login. Then now I can sign up and I can log in successfully, and I just go to this blank file, this blank page. So that's kind of where we stopped. I hope you were able to get yours to work in that way. And the blank page is basically here. However, we're going to have to make a slight change. I'll explain why. Can you guys hear me, or someone's raising their hand? Go ahead.
I can hear you.
Okay, I think Mr. Kila says he cannot get me, so I think I have to stop sharing and maybe share again. Maybe that's going to help. I'm sharing my screen one more time, so I'm not sure if this might help. Kila, can you hear me okay? Can you see my screen okay? I think Kila can hear. Yes, Kumo, would you mind please asking Kila to maybe log out, log back in? Thank you. I think if you can't hear me, just let me know. Kila, I think it's a network issue, probably. I think. Okay, so basically what I said was I'll take out this part. This part, not take it out, but actually we don't need it here. Why? Because we need to open up the section where we're going to have the graph. So I'm going to explain what that means. I actually have an example. Let me see if I can show you a quick example of what I'm talking about real quick. Okay, so for example, let's say we originally had, I think I'm going to open this one. Okay, this is like not the home screen. Okay, this is not my home screen. Why? Because if you look at my home screen, let me show you. The original one looked like this, right? This is what it looked like. So what are we going to do here? Well, now we are in the part where we need to show this home screen once they log in. So once they log in, they can come back here. They can now have access to all these options that you have. I'm going to let you be creative about this, but I will do a video where I will show you how you can make one of these pages, just to give you an idea, how you can display text in an animated way, which is really cool. So for now, I think that's not very relevant. What's really relevant is the data analytics. So they can come back, they can click anywhere, they can access. You can also be creative about the user profile. When they click user profile, because they're already logged in, it probably should show them information about the profile. Maybe where they can change their name. You have to be creative about this because that's what you're going to learn here. We've already learned how to read from the file and stuff like that, so that can help. But what we're focusing on are these 4 options for me, right? So if they click on toggle cloth and styling, what's going to happen for me is that it will open another screen, and that's what you're seeing here. Even though you still see the same picture here, but the title is different. Did you notice? In here, I have subcategories. Toggle style, clothing and style, or clothing and styling, is one main category, but when they open, I have these subcategories, right? They can learn about the art of hand embroidery. They can learn about the styling, the headpieces, the bags, all that stuff. So what I'm planning to do is whenever they click on any one of these options, the data science part of it is that we will always record the clicks, the counts of who is clicking, where they're clicking. Why? Because we want to know which one of these are more popular, which one the people like the most. That's just like studying consumer behavior, psychology. That's really what happens in all the sites. So if they click this, we want to increase the counter. Anytime a person would click this, it will increase by one, increase by one. Same thing goes for any of these options. And what we want to do is to show a live stream graph over here. So I'm going to show you a second picture. So it probably would look like, I think this is an example. Yeah, something like this. But of course, you have to adjust the design. This is not enough for a graph space. This is just giving you an idea. So probably what I'm thinking is when I do the video, which you'll see is I'm going to make enough space here for a graph, a bar graph, so that anytime this page is loaded, once they click on toggle, cloth, and styling from the main home screen, after they have logged in, they will come into this kind of a page. They will see the subcategories of toggle, cloth, and styling. And then on top, they will see a live stream bar graph that basically reads information of toggle, style, and clothing from the JSON file. So we're going to have a JSON file for each category. So not each category, but not subcategory, but category, as in the main ones. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about like these ones. They would all have their files, and in them, they would have their subcategories. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And it will show the graph right here. And if they click, it will show, it increases. So that way, the person is always going to see, which one's more popular? So many people like going here. Why? Let's see. And they click and maybe check it out. So that's how you also monitor which one's popular, which one should you remove, which one should you change. That's how you make your app better. And also you can think about doing stuff like feedback and all that thing. So we'll get into that right now, so now that you understand the whole logic. So what I mean is this whole part, I will make it a comment it out. By the way, if you're wondering how you can like animate your picture, I think by now you should not animate, sorry, how you can change your picture, customize it. I believe by now you should know how to do that. So I mean, you should know how to be able to go to Gemini or AI or Canva or something of that sort and make your image sort of fit nicely. Most of you are very smart students. I've seen what you're doing, so I think you should know how to create space for your graph, okay? So we're gonna start off. The first thing we need to do to begin this is we need to import the Matplotlib. Okay, you might be wondering, did we not import that at the top? Yes, we did, but we kind of need to do it here. Why? Because we're sort of like, and by the way, put an underscore to this because it will be like a class. The reason I'm saying we should do it here is because we need to sort of reference it because we're now transitioning from the ThinkTur to the turtle screen. Well, that's why I said we're not going to need this because this is ThinkTur. We need a turtle because we want to make things clickable. And there's something else that I'll talk about, but I'll do that later on. So I'll speak about that one. So the next line is we're going to say Matplotlib from Matplotlib. We're going to do backends. Okay, if you're wondering what the backends is for and why we're doing that, it's just like the name sounds. Backends as in it's going to back end. So it's going to connect with, what do you call it? With the JSON file. So we need a JSON file, remember? So this will connect with the JSON file. So this basically is helping to insert bar graphs. Now, about the Matplotlib, you can decide to do a different type of graph. I'm going to do a bar graph, but you can decide to change if you want. So basically what we're doing is inserting the bar graph onto the turtle screen. Actually, you know what? We might do it. Let's keep it as the ThinkTur. I did say turtle, but let's do the ThinkTur because it's also possible to do that. So we'll do both. We'll do turtle and ThinkTur. So let's keep it in the beginning, ThinkTur/turtle. And you'll see why. So these two lines are very important. That's the start of it. And then the next line, which is really important, is to basically call the root, which is where you, if you remember, we've done this before. This is where you kind of like open up a new window, right? So you remember this from last time. So you're opening up a new window which is your child screen, from your parent screen. So that's the reason why the parent screen is included here, is because this is your parent screen. This was your very first screen. So anytime you open a new window, because you're connecting from one to the next, from turtle to thinker, thinker to turtle, you need to do the reference. Then the next thing you want to do is screen.bgpic, and then of course you need to specify your picture. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit into the picture, right? So everybody has a photo, so you need to decide. Again, I'm going to come back here. So because we started with this first option, I'm just going to stick to that option. Assuming I want to, again, like I said, I want it once they click here. It really depends how you want this to look like. You can decide to scrap the entire thing and rearrange it in a different page. But for me, I'll say once this is clicked, then I want all of the subcategories to be below or to be by the side. And then I want a space for the graph. So just a little review on how that will work. If you go back to Gemini, you can go back to Gemini because you might need to have some sort of template. Again, you need to go back to Canva as well, because Canva last time when we try to open it, so I'm gonna open Canva. It was doing some sort of maintenance thing. So now I think it's normal. I will open Canva because I want to show you something on Canva. Let me refresh the Canva screen. Sometimes it does that sort of issue, and now I think it's normal. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Gemini. I'm going to say, for example, this is what you can do, just in case if you're not really aware of how to do this, you can say, based on the picture attached here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get like a background for where my graph is going to go and where my subcategories are going to go, depending on what they click, right? Because they're logged in. Remember, they have logged in now. So they need to go back to a screen, and that screen needs to go back to the, like, it needs to be back on the home screen. But once they click on any one of those options, then it should open up this screen that I'm trying to design right now. So this screen's actually going to come after the home screen, if you're wondering. So what I'm doing is that based on the picture attached here as a reference, I'll be like, design a Cameroonian themed. Again, you can, you know, add more details, picture, or you can say background picture. And then you can say where the 4 options, and you can say 4 profile card options. Profile card options. Let me put a hyphen here. 4 profile card options. So let me tell you what I'm talking about exactly. So I'm talking about this picture because this is where they will go back to, because we need to take them back here so they decide what they click. Now, once they click any of these options, then you will need to create the kind of picture that I'm creating right now. So the picture I'm creating is only for the first option here. But you definitely need to do for all of these options. That's why it's a big app. So I'm going to say for the 4 profile card options, which are, and so what are the profile card options? Okay, maybe I should put which are here. So the options I have are these ones. I'm just going to list them out like with starting names. So I'll be like, okay, so the options go as Togo, cloth, and styling. We have that. We have the Indole masterclass. Just put like again, remember that tactic I told you, and then just close it. Put it in quotation mark and then just close it. It will understand. And then say in the picture attached here again, you have to always reference so that it understands what you're trying to say. Need to be replaced with 4 profile picture cards about different aspects. You kind of need to do a little research. I'm just going like, you know, very raw here. But you need to do a little research of what exactly you want to show there. So probably researching more. If they click this, what should you show? So if you have an idea, you can just put it in here. For now, I'm just going to go raw. So I just want to show you the template. So which will be replaced with 4 profile picture cards about different aspects of learning how to do something, of learning how to do, yeah, let's say things or different things. Let's put different things using so I kind of well, I'm going to read what I'm saying. It needs to be replaced with 4 profile cards, okay? Picture cards about different aspects of learning how to do different things using the Chogan style. Yeah, so, and again, that's one thing I'm saying, but then also I need space. So if I'm going to replace those 4, then I also need to say I need a space somewhere. So maybe I will say, make a space right underneath the banner picture, because I do have like a banner picture right here. So I could take that out. I could, take the whole thing out from here and just leave only these options and put the About Us down here. It really depends. So I'll just say for now, put a period and say also, underneath the banner picture, include a large enough space. Again, if you have a different perspective of what you want to do, just make sure you include it here. Just be very specific, and then you can go and adjust it on Canva. That's why I opened Canva. Include a large enough space that would fit a bar graph. Please make sure you put your audio on mute so that we don't hear anything else. Okay, so include a large enough space that would fit a bar graph. I think that's pretty much that. I think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I wasn't going too specific, so it might do something a little bit off, but I think for now I did say what I wanted. Now, what you'll do is upload your picture. Remember that picture that you have really depends on what picture you want to use as a reference. I think I already have one, perhaps. Okay, I don't have that one, so I'll just download it real quick. So this one's going to be downloaded very quickly, and then I'll just use that one as my reference. It's already downloaded. I can also just drag and drop it here as well. So anyone you want to do. So this is my reference picture. I did say that underneath the banner picture, include a large space to fit the bar graph, and say do not include a bar graph, because sometimes it will do that. Do not include a bar graph. Okay, this is really important because sometimes it will actually include something. Okay, let's send it and see. Remember, Flash and thinking, you can go standard. If you go extended, it's good. But I noticed that extended is very slow in thinking, but it does think very well. So you have all the time you have to make your photo look great and try to adjust it. So you can take your time on that one. Now back to the coding. Remember, we only started to put these lines so far. In the beginning, we need to go back to home. Another thing you could do to avoid having this sort of situation, which again, home.gif, remember why I'm putting that there, is if you remember, if you go to the very bottom of your code, right? At the beginning, you did have this function, right? So that was like you were opening home and you were making things clickable and all that stuff. Well, you can still call that function here. Okay, it's possible if you go back. So I'm talking about over here. You can call the function and then you can just make everything clickable. However, you can do it here as well so that you can insert a click function. And if you know why I'm doing this, it's just that you want to avoid repetition. So you don't want to keep repeating things, right? You want to kind of make things faster. So why I'm doing this right here is because I'm saying if you do a click function, it's basically because you're trying to make those things clickable again. The things that are, the options that are on your home screen. You're trying to make them clickable, right? And when we talk about those options, I'm talking about, let me show you. Going back here to the home. I'm going to run this, by the way, so you can see this. I'm talking about these ones. We want to make them clickable. So this time they're logged in, which means that what? Which means that this time it can be able to open them. So if you're wondering, how is it going to understand that they're logged in? And so once they click, it will allow them to open. It will get them, to open the page. Well, that's depending on how you set it here. Okay, I'm going to go back down. How did you set it here? If you go back to the login page, login button, the one that you had, like that's on the sign up page I'm talking about now. In that button, you said, or in that section, you said when they click login, it will take them to the login screen, right? That's what you said. And there's something that I want you to add, by the way, here. So I'm going to give a space for now, and we'll come back to this. Okay, then let's get back to the login screen. And by the way, I'll go back to the Gemini in a few minutes. So the login screen is here, okay? And this is the screen that they will come to, and it will determine if they can log in or not. So here they can log in successfully, and it goes back to the display home function. And what is display home function? It's the one we're working on right now, the one where we're going to show this home screen again, but this time these things, these options are going to be unlocked. They can click and they can access them without any problem. So what I'm saying is that for you to make it smart enough to know where to go, you have to have like a sign up, sort of like a what we call a flag. Okay, a flag. Flag means that once they click login, it's logged them in successfully here, which is where you have this message. Then there should be a flag. The flag should say something like, user status successful, something like that. And we're going to add it. And then here you're going to come back and you're going to say, okay, if user status is successful, then you can open up the home screen successfully and make all those options clickable. They can now access. So I'll show you a little bit of demonstration in a few minutes. Let's see what Gemini did. But before we go into Gemini, I just want to tell you that, remember, we're here. So on the display home. So before going to Gemini, let's get back to the top of our screen. We're going to create two things. We're going to create a flag called user status. User status initially will start at false. This is what we call a flag. Okay, so this is a flag, Boolean. It's called the Boolean flag. So in the beginning, user is not signed up or logged in. So the user status will go to true. How? Well, if you go back to what I was telling you, which is where login is successful, you have to make sure in this function where you authenticate login, you global user status. This is very important so that the computer knows where you're getting it from. Then you will come here. Once you open up the display home, you change user status to become true. This means that the user is successfully logged in. Make sense? So now I think you'd understand the logic. So it makes sense now, because if the user is not logged in, what does that mean? Well, they can't go to display home. It cannot be displaying any home. It can't go back to the function that we have here, because they're not logged in. So they're not successfully logged in. They have a problem. Username or password is invalid or something. So this will go to true only when it is successful. Now, of course, you guys are wondering, what about when it's false? Yes, when it's false, then of course this means that it will go to false. So here you can put user status as false, meaning that they didn't log in successfully, so they cannot be having a user status that's true. So this is the thing, this is the real deal. User status is true, and then now that user status is true, obviously we'll open here. So this is where the kind of smart thing happens. And then you can come back here, and when you open this up, you can do, a show dialog, something like a message. What was that again? Give me a moment. Display message, pop-up window. So like you can do message equals turtle dot text input. If you remember, we did that, and it'll be like, welcome to the home page, and then everything else becomes clickable. So that's what we're doing right now, okay? So then, of course, we need to go get the coordinates and start putting up. This is where our main thing starts. So this is where the data science insertion begins, okay? So that's like where we monitor the clicks and all that stuff. So here. Okay, before we come back here and start doing all that stuff with if X, blah, 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 I'll come back to that a little bit later, because I'm not going to spend too much time on that. I want to go directly into the file. So I'll just put a hashtag and put it like a comment, but I'll show you what that means essentially. Now, going back to Gemini, okay, so see what Gemini did for me? Well, first of all, this is very odd. This is very odd because it's putting a headpiece for a male instead of a female. So you kind of need to change this kind of things. The first two ones are not bad, but this one I need to change. Also, I don't want the banner to be here, and the fourth one is not bad. So you can readjust. So what you can do is replace the, I don't know, the AI sort of is weird sometimes. So the toggle head wrap section with another picture that matches the title. That's one thing. I also want to remove the banner. So and basically make sure you say in the picture above. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I think you can do this on your own. I'll just create a space. That's really what I want. So, and then I'll be like, remove the banner picture above. In the picture above, and leave it as a blank. That's why I told you should go for extended thinking. It's really smart when it does that. Leave it as a blank space. I'm going to say leave it as a large blank space. Large blank, tall space. So tall blank space. And then I think that's pretty much it. And then maybe I'll say move the for profile picture options a bit down, or just take out the footer. I might not need the footer, to be honest. I'll be like, take out the footer, or maybe just leave that for now. So anyways, switch it over if you didn't get the right photo and redo it again one more time. And while that's working, let's get back to our data science thing. So here I'm going to do if x greater than, okay, you guys know that whole drill. I'm going to put this as ... So let's put it as an actual code so that you don't get confused. But you have to check this, okay? Why? Because you have to run this and you have to open up the login so that once you open the login, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes, once you open the login, then you should be able to see the home picture, and then there you should see the welcome. Actually, let me see if I can show you real quick right now. Let's do a little run. Let me do a little run so that you guys can see. Let's stop. Give me one moment. Let's clear all the past. I want to show you guys because I think it's really important for you to understand what's happening. And then I'll go through it a little bit slower so you can understand if you didn't catch up. So I'll just run the title program, the turtle program. Okay, at this point, there's also something you can insert, but I'll just go directly. So here we come here, we click login. It gives me this whole screen where I'm waiting. And then I'm going into like the next part, right? So the login part. So we have to wait. If you don't know why we're waiting, it's because it's trying to load up all the animation. Yeah, so here. Okay, so I'm gonna like, you know, log in. Let's say I have an account. That's nice. So I put login, click login. Oh, what happened? Is my username and password wrong? Let me see what was my username and password. Oh yeah, I don't have such an account. Okay, that's a very good validation. I don't have NASA. I have Alicia, Paldi, all the other ones, but not that one. Okay. Okay, you see what I was saying? Welcome to the home page. You guys see, right? You know why I'm getting this message, because I'm now where? I'm now here, this part. That's why I get the pop-up message, and that's why I'm getting this. Now, let's see if the click thingy is working. So the click thingy is making, so if I click OK, I'm back here. So if I click anywhere, click, go to the console, it's working pretty well. That's good, good sign. So that means that I can now start making all this stuff accessible so that they can click and they can open. And it's fine if you repeat it again, if you didn't get to call it like I told you before. Most important thing is that you're able to get to this part. So what I want to do is once they click here, this is the picture I'm trying to get ready for. Okay, it's not bad. I think this is better, but you know, I just have to take out that text. One more thing I need to do actually is take out the text, but you guys understand what I'm trying to do, right? So this is like the space where I'm going to put like a graph. If you're wondering if this space is not enough, actually in reality, it's not enough for a graph. The graph is going to be squishy. They can still see it, but it's going to be like squishy. So what you can do is you can just make sure you have like a blank. I would advise you to have nothing here. And then you go and get these picture cards yourself. And then you go over to Canva, and then you create a new Canva size, whatnot. And then you basically come and start putting all these things yourself, like arranging it so you have enough space. But you get the idea is I want to have space here. So I'm going to download this. I'm just going to leave this for now, okay, because of the time. So let's say I want to get my coordinates. Click here, click here, click here, click here. Remember, you have to do that for all these clicky stuffs. Now, when you go into console, I've got my last 4 coordinates. You notice that I'm not concentrating on the other ones because I clicked 4 times. So I'm concentrating on the last 4. Okay, my smallest is -627. My biggest is -346. So I'll just do that. Was it 627 or 647? -627 was the smallest, and -346 is the largest. So remember how we do this? You know, you look for the smallest, the largest, and put the coordinates there. And then, of course, I've removed the hashtag because now I'm making it activated. So the Y coordinates now, I'm finished with the X. You look at all the ones on, I'm looking at the last 4 again, so concentrate on this. On the right side, my biggest is -218, my smallest is -216. I mean, -16. So -218, and then of course, -16. Okay, so let's continue. I think that's it. That's all we need really, right? Because at this point, what is going to happen? The picture I just downloaded, do you remember this one? That's the one that I'm saying that you need to design for all of your options. This one, which I didn't take my time to do properly, which you have to take your time, is where I want to put my graph. So once they come here, they immediately see the stats. They see which one's popular from all these options. And then they might be curious to say, oh, why is this one popular? Let me check, or whatever. We're just trying to monitor the behavior. So the graph will be here, and if they click anything, as they click, the graph is updated, and it will change the screen to go to another screen where they can learn more about hand-woven, whatever. There's going to be like another screen where they would like have animated text, and that's something I'll do in a different video. So let me rename this to, let's call it Togo 2, like that, and then I'll go back here and drag and, drop it in there. You guys know how to drag and drop pictures by now, so we're going to skip that part. So drag, drop over here. So you notice that I now have it here. Just keep in mind that this is Turtle, so Turtle does not recognize PNG photos. Just remove it and make it GIF. That's all. Okay, so really quickly, I think the time, I was afraid of the time, and unfortunately the time is clocking in. So let's go into what is next. Next will be to do this, screen.clear. Clear my screen. Open up a new screen. And remember, what is the new screen? This is because they have clicked on Togo cloth and styling. Remember? Because they clicked home, then they clicked Togo cloth. Well, they clicked and they opened home. Remember the one that I just showed you, right? This one. Then they click this option, and then when they click that option, it's opening this picture that I just got you right now, Togo 2. This one's going to open. Then the graph and everything's going to show here. So that's what I'm trying to do. So here we'll put the background picture, togo2.gif. Then that's it. Now we move on to the file. So we're going to say Togo file. What is the file? We're going to create a JSON file. You can call it whatever you want to call this file, really. I'll just call it clothing.json. Oh, and also a good idea to put like an underscore between the names so that you don't have. So this is going to be our backend, and this is where we're going to be like storing information, like storing clickings and stuff. All that click, 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 we're going to store here. So the first thing we'll do is like what we did before, which is load Togo database, right? I'm going to go if not os.path. That means we're checking to see if it exists first. Remember, we did this with the login. If you go back, I mean, I don't want to repeat the code, but I think it's important to just re-emphasize something. So if it exists, as in what is existing, if the Togo file exists, as in it's present, I mean, if it doesn't exist, sorry, then we're not going to be able to access it. But if it does exist, if not path exists, then we're going to do create a file, okay? So basically, we're saying if it does not exist, we're creating a file. But if it does exist, we don't need to create a file because that would keep overriding your things. It will keep changing things. So this is like the first instance. You notice that I didn't create the file like I did with the users. I'm creating it from here. So here you're going to have to put what you want to put there. So what do you want to put? Well, first, I want to put the first option. Let me put my picture here because it's going to be easier for me. So this is the wrong photo. Let's open up. Let's go back. That's the Ampe course. Let's go back here. So here I have the first option. I have the woven masterclass. I'm just going to give them really short names. So I'll say hand woven. You can be more detailed in this. And then you come here and you put in the beginning, they will start at 0. No increment, no count. Later on, they will be counted. Then go to the next option. I'm just putting short names. The second one is the garment tailoring. So I'll just put garment tailoring. Okay, this one also will go at 0, start at 0. And then, of course, the third one is going to be, what's the third one? Head wrap, and then we have the design. I've just put head wrap and design. So you have to take your time to do this. I'm going a little bit fast because I just want to try to put as much things as I can do. So I'm just going to say cloth design here, but I think it's something else. You have to put a proper name. Why I said put a proper name is because the graph is going to have to show properly. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, so then after you've done this part, the next thing you want to do is come down. Once you've set up your data, then you're going to say with open. You're going to open up your Togo file. This is the JSON file, the backend. You're going to pass a write command. Write means to overwrite the file as something. This is what we call an iteration. Why are we doing this? Well, because anytime we want to read information from this Togo clothing file, we always have to sort of refresh it, because we're refreshing it in the sense where we're kind of capturing what it already has. Like, let's say you close this program and you come back again. Don't you want to see the data that is already present updated, right? You don't want everything to disappear. How are you going to keep track? So whenever a person clicks, it will update by 1 for that option, and it will stay there. So once you come back, just like the username and sign up, it will be there. So still be there. It will load from there, and it will keep updating. So that's really what's happening. And then finally, we're going to do a return data. That's it. And then, of course, we need to do another with open. And you probably know why. Why am I doing that? Well, because after we write, we read, right? So we are going to update the file because somebody has clicked. So we update. And then we have to read it again so we can show it on the graph. So we're going to read it. So we're going to say open. Again, you're going to pass your read command. So just write your file the way you spelt it. And then we're going to put the read command, which is R, so we can read the data and put it on the graph. And then you have to read it as something. So you can call it file2. This name can change. It doesn't matter. And then here you come and you say return. Okay, and then you're going to return JSON load file2. So what this means is that you're reading from the JSON file and you're storing it here so that you can be able to have that, alternative option. So here, when you come back here, the next thing you want to do is you want to put them into a list. So your options that you're reading, you want to put them in a list. So we can say options equal, and then we say list, open brackets. And then we just basically do the Togo database and we load them as the keys. Okay, this might be a little bit confusing with what's happening from here to here. A little recap. Let's do a little recap very quickly. If you remember, if you open up a JSON file, look at an example. This one's for the sign up, right? What does it look like? It looks like a dictionary. Okay, I said this before. This is how dictionaries are created in Python. So you have a key and you have a value, just like a language dictionary. It's the same thing we're saying in the code. It's the same thing. We're trying to write to the file when somebody clicks, but we're also trying to read from the file to update the graph to show the statistics of as someone is clicking, whatever they're clicking is increasing by 1. So it's showing the stats of everything. And then this is going to help us to get that stat to be placed on the graph, like bar graph, line graph. There are many kind of graphs, and I'll show you where you can get information and choose whatever kind. But you notice that we're using this, you can call this whatever you want. We're using the keyword list because we're trying to copy everything from the file where we have the one that I said, we'll have this one, all this information. We're trying to copy everything. When we say copy, we're not copying the text, we're copying just the numbers, the values, and we're putting it into a list. And that's why we say keys. Okay, so first we'll copy the keys, sorry, not the values yet, the keys. We'll copy the keys, these ones, and then based on the keys, we can fetch the values. And the values are the zeros, and they will change. As somebody clicks, it will increase, increase, and keep going. So that's what's happening is the keys. So maybe put a little comment down here. This lists the keys in the dictionary to do what? To basically, be used in your bar graph or line graph, whatever you want to do. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to save your data. You can call it data. You can call it anything you want, whatever you want. So I'm going to save the data that we're getting, which is the data from this library, like from the database that has all the counts, and into this function. And here we're going to open it again. So we're going to have to open the file that we're saving the data from. And if you remember, this is the same thing we just did here. I didn't do anything different from here, like from here to here. So I'm basically saying that I'm creating a function where I'm getting all the data that I have saved in the file, in the JSON file that has all this information. And I'm trying to load it so it can be written onto the graph. That's what's happening. And so now I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to start off by creating my sort of like my diagram. So this is going to be a figure. And fig AX equals, by the way, if you're getting this, if you're getting a red line, just finish writing it. Fig means figure, the graph that we're going to do. So it's equal to what? I want to plot a graph. PLT is what I'm going to use. I didn't get this from my head. PLT is actually when we imported PyPlot, we imported it as an underscore PLT. You don't have to put it underscore PLT. You can import it as anything. I just put it as underscore PLT. But you have to put that here because this is where you're going to be plotting. So subplots, you can put the size of your graph. Again, you have to kind of research a little bit more about graphs in Matplotlib library, and I'm going to give you a very good resource, but you can put the fig size. How much space do you want between, because we're doing bar graphs, how much space do you want between each bar graph? So I'm going to put a sort of like a spacing, 4.5 pixel spacing between the bar graphs in terms of width, and then how tall. So height, I'm going to put 3. Okay, so what I just did there, if you want to put a comment, so fig size, what that means is that you're just putting in spacing for width and height. Okay, that's what it really means. And this is for the bar graph. You can specify whatever spacing, and when you see the graph, you will know. So the next thing you want to do after that, which is to plot the graph using fig dot patch, and then you say dot set. I'm just trying to get the wording right. And then you can also decide the color of your graph. So face color, like what kind of color do you want your graph to be in? Like I'm talking about the background color. So again, colors are so many. You can choose whatever color. If you want to put a hexadecimal like this, it works. You know, when we did it before, like a hexadecimal because you want a particular type of color, you can do that. But I just put black for now, but whatever color you want, you put here. So here you're setting the background color of your bar graph to black. That's what I'm doing. So the next thing you want to do is to now put your chart. So chart equals to figure, canvas, TK, and I'll explain what this whole thing is. Aggregation, okay, TK aggregation, fig, comma, master, root. So what this is doing is it's basically, oh, figure is capital F, by the way. So just be careful with that one. If you remember, we imported this at the beginning as well. And what it was going to do was basically help you insert your bar graph onto your screen, because you have a screen, right? The screen, the Togo screen, this one. And for me, I want to put my graph somewhere around here. Really depends where you want, but I'll show you how you can adjust where you want to put it. So that is what we're doing in this line. So basically determining where to put the parent screen, where the bar graph will be displayed on the screen. That's what's happening. And then the next part you want to do after this is to start setting up the other stuff of your graph. So let me see what we need to do. Oh, the positioning, very important. Where would you position this graph? So you have to do .get, and I'll soon end this lesson, by the way, because there's just like a few more blocks to finish this whole thing and then test it out. But I think I'll have to end it and then do a video to continue. So this is really important, and it acts in a very strange way. So you notice I put this line, and this determines where your bar graph is going to go, like the position. Because if you want it to go top, then you should know what position that is, right? Position, top here, what is X, what is Y, the coordinates. If you want it to go the side, what is X, what is Y? Wherever you want it to go, you just have to specify the position. That's exactly what this line is doing, and I think you know positioning by now. So you just have to keep adjusting your X and Y until you get it into the right place where you want it to show. And that's pretty much that. The next part, let me just see what's left for us. We just need to do the drawing of the graph itself. And you can also do the, oh, by the way, there's also one more thing. You can add the width and the height of your graph. So how wide do you want your graph to be? For me, I would go with like a medium size. The bigger the number here, the bigger the graph. The smaller the number, the smaller the graph. So I'll go with this type of value, and I think that would be a good way to start my graph. So you can actually put your width and height. All of this setting is affecting the whole graph itself. Okay, so to continue on the video that I'll be doing after this lesson, which I'll post probably tomorrow or next, will be just to insert the last function, which is to draw the graph on the screen, and that's it. So drawing the graph on the screen. And pretty much that will be like the function. So def draw chart. You can call it whatever. So that's kind of what will be the next thing. That's what we have to do. Unfortunately, because of the timing, I would have to end it here because I need to show you a website where you can go and research a little bit more into graphs, because I think you're going to enjoy the kind of graphs you can show. But we have just a few more lines to do this and sort of test it out and see how it's going to work. If you do it the same way I'm doing it without any red lines, then you're good to go. So if you just play this video back, pause, play, and just look carefully as I do this, then you'll be fine. Let me just show you the website and I'll come back to the classroom. If you want to learn more about graphs, about Matplotlib, I really advise you to go to this website called W3 Schools. I always advise students to go here because it's a really good website. You can also go to Geeks for Geeks. There are many of them, but I just like the way Matplotlib is like W3 Schools is broken down. So as you can see, it explains to you what is Matplotlib. You can even try it out by clicking try yourself. And it shows you like how the graphs and stuff look like. Of course, this is something that you're setting the values for, and you notice they're using another library. But again, if you want to go more into the plotting thing, just go plotting, and then you can see, you know, more examples. You can go even bar graphs, which is what we want, actually, bars. So bar graphs, this is how our graph will look like, something like that. You can do horizontal bars and all that stuff, and you can try yourself, okay? So I'm going to come back and let's just do a little recap. Please follow the video that I will be posting, plus the video of this class, plus the one that I will post to continue so that we can put up the remaining codes and we can test it to see that it's being displayed on the screen. Like when they go into the first option, remember we're talking about option number 1, right? So I mean, not this one, but the one they click, toggle cloth and styling, they come here, they see the graph. As they click, it opens another screen. They learn more about whatever this is about. And then they, you know, the graph still shows them here the stats. You can do stats in the other screen if you want. If you understand one type of thing, you can apply it in wherever you want. And you have to do the same thing for this one too. It's going to be here anyway, so you don't need to do much. If you click, the graph will update for this one. Here you click, it will update. Click whatever you click. Wherever you click, it will always update. And it will open up. And then all you have to do is just apply it for all your other options, which, if you remember real quick, were the ones that you had at the beginning. Where is that? This one. You know, the other options is what I'm saying. You don't need statistics for these ones, I think, unless you do. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Let me come back to the classroom and see if you guys have any questions so far. Okay. Back to the classroom, guys. Are there any questions that you want to have? Of course, we still need to continue part second, but is there any questions regarding anything I just said? You know, regarding the charts so far? No? Okay. Did you understand properly about submission of assignments? Is everybody in this classroom, have you all submitted your assignments? Because you're going to get a checklist. So have you all done from lesson 1? Can you type it on the chat for me real quick? We have like 4 minutes, I think, then we can wrap up, and, you know, Ms. Kumo, Mr. Kila can also wrap that up. Can you all type on the chat? Have you done all lessons 1 to, you know, to 5? What are we now? To the 5th one. Have you all done it? Or we haven't done 5th one, but like to 4. Is there anyone who's still pending? Because if you are pending, you're not going to be getting any certificate of completion. I think we said that already, or anything else at the end of this course. We are also looking for the best students that are going to graduate from this course who can be interns with us at Nazi Tech School. We have a lot of projects that we're working on launching some software apps, flagships, so you can be one of those creators that we actually pitch to different countries in Africa and beyond. So if you do well and you work hard, you can be amongst those kind of people, and that's making it possible for you by Tech Fusion, of course, the collaboration in Cameroon. So they really made this possible, and of course, our school trying to bring everything together into the academic side. No one is typing on the chat, so I'm assuming you all haven't done your assignments.
Okay. Uh-huh. Typing now.
Can you guys type? I need to
I
know.
think
Yeah,
they
they're
are
here.
typing now. You can check.
Yeah, I see only Roger and I see Gani. I always see Roger, I see Gani, I always see Lemsna, I always see Hawa'u, I always see, there are certain people, I see Ndi, yes, I do, see you on LinkedIn. So these are the only 3 people. Okay. So the rest of you are doing, you have 1 except 1. Okay, please turn it in. If you have Crystal, just turn it in or send us a message and we'll see. Yes, keep typing, guys. You're 17 in the classroom. We need to know. Have you done all your assignments or is anybody still pending? Okay, Miss Kumo, would you like
I
to?
think if you have done, yeah. I think if you have done 3 and you're pending 1, you can still give that update. Is that okay, Miss Alicia?
Sure, Miss Kumo, that's very okay. And, you know, I'll let you, I don't want to keep the students in here because, you know, it's time for us to go and also you. So I think I've gotten some people who have responded, not sure if the other ones can't respond or don't want to respond, whatever the case is, I think I've already explained everything. You guys will get the video to follow up and understand better. But yeah, just make sure you follow the videos. Remember, at the end, you have to submit a portfolio, a checklist, your completed MBOA FLIX app before you get any of the benefits that comes with this course. If we don't receive any one of those things, then again, that means you're not going to be getting anything at all as well. So you kind of need to catch up with all the things that we're doing. Ms. Kumo, would you like to wrap up before we go? I think the students can go now. We have like a minute of 10 minutes extra time.
Okay. I think some students they did lesson 1, but they didn't turn in their assignment. I don't know if they can if they can do some relation to that. Is there a
Oh,
way we can solve that issue?
sure. That's a very good question. Yes, indeed had that question, and also Anstem also had that question. So anyway, the solution is that you can send us an email and we have to check if you've actually done the assignment in the Google Forms. And if you have done it, then we can pardon you for not turning it in because you didn't know. But of course, from now on, now you know. So lesson 5, you guys don't have any quiz for lesson 5. Lesson 5, you're going to have to watch this video from today's lesson and the videos that will follow. I think there's going to be 2-part videos. And make sure your MBOA FLIX is up to date. And then, of course, after the lesson 6, you have 2 weeks before you complete it and submit it finally. And then we have 2 weeks to mark and get everything done. We send it to Ms. Kumo and Mr. Kila, and they will be able to tell you what comes and when you receive and who has gotten it. So the list of students that actually successfully graduate will be with them. Okay, is that clear? Understood? Any questions? Okay, no, I think everyone understood. Should we wrap up? Yes, thank you very much, guys. It was nice to see you all again. Looking forward to seeing you on the last session, which is next class. It's not going to be a teaching class. Well, at least the first part wouldn't be a teaching class. So I think you're going to benefit a lot from that session.
Okay.
All right.
If you have any question in relation to anything, you should always ask in the group. Please do not sit quiet because I'm seeing some people complaining now because we have asked in class. So if you have any question, please send your message in the group, then we'll see how we can help you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Miss Kumo. Take care, everybody. Have a good night and see you guys soon. Don't forget to watch your lessons. Bye-bye. Kila is here. Okay.